Am I the a-hole for not feeling sorry for my homeless parents and not offering my house for them to stay or help? My 30 female parents had me at age 15. My whole childhood was hell. They never put me up for adoption or anything like that because my grandparents would help. And every time the CPS was called, they suddenly became the best parents in the world and would force me to lie. But the reality is, I lived alone most of the week. And at 8 years old, I already knew how to make myself a meal, while my parents were partying, traveling, drinking, or fighting. Then when I was 15, they fell in love again and had kids like rabbits. 15 male, 13 female, 12 female, 11 male, and 9 male. I left home when I was 18 years old. It hurt from the bottom of my soul to have to leave my siblings, but I couldn't stand it that I had no financial stability. At 24, I passed a public contest that pays me very well. I worked myself off to study and work. Then at 25, the CPS contacted me saying that they had taken away my parents' custody of all of their children and asked if I was able to take care of at least one as they were looking for another relatives. I said I would take care of everyone. I know it's not my responsibility, but a part of me always wanted to get them out of that. And only now I had a good job. My house is not very big, 4-bedroom and 2-bath. But my husband and I, he also wanted to, were able to accommodate everyone and we are not so tight financially. They are good students, polite and affectionate, and I don't regret having welcomed each one. And my husband treats everyone as if he were a big brother or a young father. My parents try to get them back because my grandparents cut off the help after they lost custody. But they couldn't, so my custody of them became permanent. We haven't had contact with them for 2 years. Then my father's sister called me recently saying that she was shocked seeing my parents homeless and asking for money on the streets. And now the family's looking to see if someone can shelter them, and they decided to come and ask me if I could shelter them or help financially since I had a good job. I replied, "Nah, I pass." For them? No, and I'd rather give the money to their children I'm raising. My father's whole family started blowing me up with messages saying that I'm turning my back on my parents who are now sleeping on the streets. How cold-hearted I am to do this, that I don't even want to help when I can. I just blocked everyone. My husband said that he is on my side, but that I should give some token amount so as not to have that weight on my conscience. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You've already had your life ruined multiple times over by these people and have taken all of their responsibilities. You do not have to do anything else for them. Please get some therapy so you're able to unburden yourself for feeling responsible for these toxic a-holes. Every single one of those family members shaming you could take in your parents, but have they? No. They could have taken in the kids, but did they? No. Absolutely block them all and don't look back. Not the a-hole. Firmly. Every single one of those family members shaming you could take in your parents, but have they? More importantly, each of them could have said or done something when Opie and her siblings were mistreated children. Chuck all of them to the deepest pit of fire along with Opie's parents. After hanging on this sub, I've come up with this term, which probably already has a name: virtuous vicariousness or vicarious virtue. Being a good person and doing good in the world is hard work, but makes you feel good. Telling someone else to do good, as if on your behalf, doesn't feel as good but takes basically zero effort. Not the a-hole. Every person hassling you to take your parents in should be met with the reply, "I'm too busy raising their children. How about you take them in?" And thinking about it some more, the kids were removed from these parents by CPS. Would Opie even legally be allowed to house them? I doubt it. So a better argument would be, nope, I can't risk CPS taking the kids away from me for their sake, but I'll be glad to tell them you offered, and watch every nosy one of them back the heck away. I thought the same, but I'm sure they just want money. Same arguments applies though. If Opie starts giving away their money instead of using it to care for their siblings, that might not go over too well. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband if he wants to give money to my stepdaughter, the same amount should be given to my daughter as well? Me, 46, and my husband David, 51, have been married for 5 years. I have a daughter, Amy, 21, and David has a daughter, Erin, 21. They're only a few months apart. Both started college a few years ago. Amy got a scholarship for her school, which combined with the funds me and my ex had for her, pretty much covered everything. Erin moved out of state to Massachusetts and her school doesn't offer scholarships. David had a college fund for her and the rest she'll cover herself. What's going on now is David said we have a fair amount of savings and wants to give some of that to Erin for her student loans. That's not exactly fair to Amy, but he said that hers are paid off, but I replied he should give the same amount to Amy for rent or something, even if she doesn't have college fees. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Erin plays violin with a local orchestra. She had her first small show about a month ago. We went all the way to Massachusetts because David wanted to see her perform. He was also the one who brought her the violin as a gift when she got into college, but no gift for Amy. We argued over this and David said that it's difficult for Erin alone. I replied that then she should have stayed here instead of running off to a different state and picking up things like violin to show that she's better than everyone. He got really mad at me for saying that. I'm just trying to be fair, but am I the a-hole? Where is Erin's mom? It is sounding to me like you think Amy should be getting money from 3 parents and Erin gets support from 1 parent. You married when these kids were practically adults. And your our savings, did that start from scratch when you married, or did one or both of you bring savings to the marriage? Erin's mom died when she was 3. It's a joint account we both contribute to and brought into when we got married. David had more savings initially, and he earns more than me, so say around 75-25. This really doesn't help your case. He brought the most money to the marriage, still brings in the most of the income, and his daughter has 1 living parent to help her financially. And you want your daughter, who has 2 living parents, to receive some of his money as well? Come on. Yeah, fair in this case means getting both kids graduating college without debt. There is no way to make the cost of college equal given the variation in career tracks and college choices and financial aid/scholarship possibilities. The disparity in savings contributions makes Opie look even worse for trying to claim her kid should get additional money if he uses savings for his daughter's college. Really, he could have put 2/3 of his contribution into a separate college fund for his kid all along. It only contributed an amount equal to Opie's to the joint savings. And the result is the same, but without Opie thinking she gets to complain. You're the a-hole. I was leaning toward not the a-hole until I got to, she should have stayed here instead of running off to a different state and picking up things like violin to show that she's better than everyone. That is a very strange and immature thing to say and throws the story into, I don't think we're getting the whole story land. That violin jibe. Also digging into stepdaughter for going to college out of state. Bizarre. She makes it sound like Erin ran off and joined a circus. Yep, you're the a-hole, OP. Imagine hating your stepdaughter because she had the audacity to play the violin. You're the a-hole. I mean, why else would she choose to play, if not to prove that she's better than everyone else? Isn't that why the violin exists? It is, same as the saxophone exists to prove that you're louder than everyone else. At least that's how my roommates like to play it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé that he embarrassed me when he started singing the happy birthday song to his 5-year-old son at a restaurant? I, female 30, have been with my fiancé, Ned, male 36, for a year and a half. He has a 5-year-old son with his ex-girlfriend. They don't have a custody arrangement, but he has him most of the week because the mom is currently sick. His son is lovely, but I noticed that Ned takes him everywhere he goes, including places that aren't child-friendly, and we have an issue with that now, but we're working on it. His son's 5th birthday was days ago. Ned took us out to a restaurant to celebrate. The place was nice and looked a bit unfitting for the occasion because it was a somewhat expensive place. Anyways, we ordered food, then got the birthday cake, which was a surprise to me because I thought we were going to celebrate at home, so we could be free to sing and play however we wanted. I still had no issue with that, till Ned started singing the happy birthday song to his son. I was stunned. I almost dropped my plate. He was singing it at the top of his lungs, not even looking around or paying attention to how many people staring at us awkwardly. I felt so embarrassed I kept whispering for him to stop, but he ignored me. Of course, my future stepson was hyped and a little too active, which isn't good when we're at a public place. I expected the staff, the manager, and one to get involved and stop him, but no one did. In fact, some woman came up to us and offered that she help him take a video recording. I wasn't in it at all. I froze in my seat, looking stunned and a little angry. He looked at me later asking what was wrong. I didn't say anything except, thanks for finally noticing. He didn't understand what I meant and I didn't explain till we were in the car. I flat out told him that he embarrassed me the second he started singing in the restaurant. He looked shocked, saying he didn't get why I would be embarrassed by him celebrating his son's birthday and cheering him up. I told him we could have done this at home when we'd be more comfortable and free. He took it as in I was ashamed of him and his son, but I denied it and said that it just felt awkward and embarrassing too. Maybe because I've never been in this situation and also judging from the restaurant we were at. He said that his son's mom is sick and he's trying to do all he can to cheer him up, and that all families do that. But no one had an issue with that except me. Then when I tried to explain, he got mad and said he no longer felt like talking. We haven't been speaking since then. It appears he's still salty about me saying what I said and insisting that I see him and his son as an embarrassment. Am I the a-hole? I think he's being too harsh with the whole ignoring me thing instead of talking it out. Now for the top comments. He gleefully sang happy birthday to his child whose mother is sick, while you sat there sulking in your anger. Are you applying to be an evil stepmother by any chance? You prioritize not being embarrassed over a fun moment between a father and a son. The restaurant staff didn't think it was inappropriate. It doesn't seem that you are a good match for someone with kids. You're the a-hole. You should not marry someone with a 5-year-old kid that they love. You are going to be absolutely shocked at how often they will embarrass themselves in public to have fun with their kid. I don't think your knickers would survive the trauma. It is not embarrassing to sing happy birthday to a child. It is, however, super embarrassing to look angry at a person singing happy birthday to a child at the same table as you. You're the a-hole. Of course, people were looking out of curiosity and probably wondering if they should join. They probably saw her face and were confused why she looked upset. Sounds like she embarrassed herself. You're the a-hole. The kid is only 5, but you're the one acting like a child. It's natural that his dad wants to celebrate with him. Who cares if someone hears him sing? You should be grateful that you have a boyfriend who makes it clear that he loves and wants to celebrate with his little boy. Are you ready to be with someone who has a child? Are you willing to share your boyfriend's time, focus, and attention with the son? Because the son should be his priority. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my niece her dog is not comparable to my child? I lost my 15-year-old daughter in a car accident last year. I have not been able to clean her room or go in it, so it's the same as it was when she was alive. My husband doesn't go in there either, and we keep the door closed. I don't go anywhere except work anymore. And while I'm in therapy, it isn't helping very much. My niece is 17 and has always been extremely empathetic to animals, but unempathetic to other people. Her dog passed away 2 years ago and she was very torn up for months, but has completely moved on now. Last week, she came to stay with us for the night and my husband made her a bed on a couch. She asked why she couldn't sleep in the guest room, and I told her, confused, that we don't have one. We live in a 2-bedroom house. Niece said that she thought our daughter's room was the guest room now. I explained that we hadn't been able to change anything yet, and she rolled her eyes and said that it was a year ago, and we need to move on. When I started crying, she tried to apologize and, I think in an attempt to relate, said she had taken the loss of her dog very hard but got over it within a year. And I screamed that my child wasn't a dog. My husband came in to moderate and ended up telling my niece to go home, called an Uber for her. I haven't spoken to her since, but my sister reached out and said I was being unreasonable and had made niece feel like a monster. I didn't mean to upset my niece, but I felt that she was completely out of line. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and I'm so sorry for your loss. Your niece is young and maybe was trying to relate to you with the only experience she's had. Until you've lost a child, I have. You cannot possibly understand the depth of sorrow. Please try to forgive her. She meant well. But forgiving her ignorance does not mean moving on or cleaning out that room. You take as long as you need. Hopefully OP sees this. But the niece is definitely an a-hole. Who rolls their eyes and says it's been a year and that her aunt should get over it? Let's not use her age as an excuse. She knew she was being rude, and that was a completely inappropriate thing to do. I would have called my sister and asked her to take the kid home. Right? I'm sure she was trying to relate with the dog anecdote, but before that, she was implying Opie was being unreasonable for still mourning her child, obviously angry about having to sleep on a couch and rude about it to boot. The niece was definitely being an a-hole, not just a child trying to relate. I think the niece's only saving grace is she immediately realized she messed up when she saw Opie crying and attempted to apologize. Some people in those situations just try to dig in with their point of view. Not the a-hole. Please accept my profound sympathy for the tragic loss of your daughter. I'm sure it's devastating and the experience is life-changing. Being told to get over it is unrealistic. May you find solace soon. Niece's panic indicates to me she was way over her head when she said those things to you. She probably tried to find common ground but ended up making it worse. And you're right, not the same things. Also wishing you peace and healing, OP. Not the a-hole. No matter the niece's intention, her comments were completely out of line. Given the circumstances, I don't think anyone can fault you for your reaction. She is young, not a child. She can comprehend that there are consequences for her actions. Her words were flippant and callous. The niece and your sister should be more concerned about how she hurt you plus apologizing, versus making you feel bad for how she feels.